I have my teacher's manual open to our Mount Everest selection, and I was thinking about how we usually discuss each selection every week. We spend time reading together and talking about it, and that's going to be hard for us, but I feel like I need to ask some questions and kind of have a discussion, even if I'm answering myself, just to make sure we're understanding here. So we have a nonfiction factual selection about a man who wanted to reach the top of Mount Everest, which is an awesome goal. And on the first page, it talks about the clock showing midnight, freezing temperatures. And here is this group of people who are starting the final stage, the last part of their journey to get to the top of Mount Everest. And my question is, it takes about 6 hours to climb from that ridge that they're on to the top of the mountain. Why would the climbers begin their climb in the middle of the night? Why wouldn't they wait till daylight to do that? Can you think of a possible reason that they might start out at the middle of the night? I wonder what it would be like to be at the top of the mountain when daylight is first happening, when the sun has risen, and how beautiful and amazing that would be. I guess if I was guessing why they would start in the middle of the night and get to the mountain at daylight is to see that incredible view in the morning. And then, of course, remember, they have to turn around and go back down. So if they waited too long and too much daytime had gone, then they still have a long trek to go, and probably they aren't going to be wanting to climb back down in the night. So I'm not sure, but that was just a thought I had about that particular concept, that they're getting up at midnight to get there by daylight. So that was part of their strategy. And then I'm going to scoot over to page 304, and I'm looking at the map that they give us, and I'm just going to kind of come in close. You can see the different colors on the map. I don't think my phone is focusing very well, but you see the greens and then the dark oranges. The deepest orangey brown colors are the mountain ranges. For example, you can see the Andes Mountains that run along the left-hand side of South America. They kind of follow the same path that the Rocky Mountains do. I better back off because that's fuzzy. Almost as if they're kind of connected in a way. And then you see, of course, the others. The Himalayan region with that darkest purple there, that is where Mount Everest is on the continent of Asia. Africa has the East Africa Mountains. The European Alps are there as well. So I think it's interesting to see how those mountain ranges kind of all fit together. And then that little fact over in the corner that they stuck in there just to tell us, mountains cover 1/4 of Earth's land surface. Interesting, 1/4 of that. All right, I'm going to set my phone down and turn the page. So this is a little awkward, but this is the best we can do. Hang on. All right, I'm back, and I turned my page to 306 here, and I'm looking at some of the dangers. What are some of the dangers that these climbers face as they're attempting to reach the top? What could happen to them? Yikes. Well, one of the things that could happen is frostbite. It's cold, and your hands and feet and other parts of your body can freeze. You could lose your fingers, lose your toes, even your noses. That's dangerous. Somewhere across the page here, they talked about avalanches. If you are climbing and you get caught in an avalanche, oh my gosh, that would be extremely dangerous. That falling snow down the side of a mountain, or just getting exhausted. And if you were sick or something and you're in the middle of a big climb, what would happen to you? So there are some definite risks involved that would make climbing kind of a tough decision, whether it would be worth it or not. I'm sliding again across the page. You can hear my dogs moving in the background. I apologize about that. They follow me around the house. So, in fact, there's Miss Callie right now. Hey, Cal. She can't hear very well anymore. Anyway, then I wanted to just kind of look at that survival equipment page. Of course, it would be so, so important to have the right kind of equipment. You would not want to tackle a big mountain with equipment that is not appropriate. This would not be the time to buy cheap broken down equipment or forget your gloves or your climbing ropes. You'd need everything just to be just right, because if it's not, that could mean you may not survive on that mountain. So important to have that climbing suit and oxygen and mask, gloves, goggles, ice axe, all of those things, trekking poles, mountain boots, things that are so important. So that's an interesting little chart there that they just kind of list that out for you. So another question, why would the climb up Everest take several weeks? Did you understand that as you read? The fact that you have to stop along the way at each camp and let your body adjust to that new height for a day or so, let your body adjust before going even higher. So that trip is spread out. You don't just start out at the bottom and just keep walking and walking until you reach the top. You have to spread it out, which is an interesting concept. So it would take a while. I wonder how much time in all. Did it say? I'm going to set my book or my phone down again. All right. I'm kind of sliding. I'm going to slide across a couple pages. Reaching the top of the world. If you read that heading, that subheading, reaching the top of the world, and you hadn't read the paragraphs yet below it, what would you think this page would be about? Does that subheading give you a good idea? Is this maybe where he's going to reach the top, right? It would feel like you were on top of the world if you reached the top of that peak. And I imagine that is how he felt. The youngest person ever to climb Mount Everest. How amazing, right? And then just the fact that it's dangerous for climbers to spend more than 10 minutes at the top of Mount Everest. They spend days, weeks getting there, and then they get there and you have 10 minutes to look around, and then you have to get moving. Because if you don't get moving, you won't be able to breathe. You'll run out of oxygen. Interesting. A lot of work for that 10-minute reward. All right, phone is down again. And then I'm on page 314, thinking about our focus in April on taking care of our earth. Now, the weather is excuse me. The weather, oh my goodness. The weather outside is not fantastic, that is for sure. But when it's nice and warm in April, we think about Earth Day coming up, and we think about getting out and taking care of litter, picking things up, raking, beautifying the places that we live, and just thinking of all of that garbage and things just left behind on Mount Everest. And the fact that there are people concerned now working at cleaning those things up, because it doesn't look so good, right? Not a great way to leave this world's tallest mountain. So hopefully they've gotten that figured out and have found ways to get that garbage off of the mountain, clean up that mess. And for sure, anywhere we go, we want to make sure we're not leaving a deep footprint by leaving garbage everywhere we go, and we need to pick up after ourselves. So that would be an important thing to do, wouldn't it? All right, and then I'm scooting across here after the climb. Look at a happy guy there. Tempest smiled at supporters who greeted him. I can't imagine that feeling of reaching the top, reaching that goal, the people excited for him, all of the attention that he got, but such a long road. And what a brave guy. Cool guy, interesting guy. I hope you enjoyed this selection this week. It's interesting.